So this is going to be my preview and picks for the games for NFL Divisional Weekend. Why it's really called Divisional Weekend, I don't really know. I've never really loved that name, but forget about that. Getting into what happened on Wild Card Weekend. Wild Card Weekend ended up being a solid weekend of football overall, and I got a decent amount of, well, most of my picks right. Picked San Fran to win, they won. Picked the Jaguars to win, they won, although in miraculous fashion. Picked the Vikings to win, they lost. Picked the Bengals to win. I was right on that one. And I picked the Buccaneers to win. I was wrong on that one, but I'm happy I was wrong because I'm a Cowboys fan and I was definitely very nervous about that game. But in hindsight, maybe I shouldn't have been. So we get that out of the way. Now we get over to Divisional Weekend. Divisional Sunday, or Divisional Weekend, definitely looks very promising in terms of the games. First one being Jaguars at the Chiefs. Jaguars coming off that unbelievable pull a rabbit out their ass win that they had against the Chargers, although that was a lot of self-inflicted pain by the Chargers. But the Jaguars definitely played their role to get that win. They did an unbelievable job. And now you got the Chiefs, the team that got the bye for the AFC, top seed, playing at home. This one is probably the easiest pick out of all of them, despite the momentum the Jags have. But I got the Chiefs winning this game. Got them winning pretty comfortably. Got a score probably about 35 to, I'll be nice and say 21, just because the Chiefs' defense isn't great. But I think the Chiefs definitely got this one. They got all the experience. The Jags, they're definitely a year ahead of schedule. And, they'll put up a decent fight. But Kansas City is just, too much. You got Mahomes going to be MVP this year. Yeah, I got them winning this one. Then we get to Saturday night, the other number one seed, this time, of course, in the NFC, Giants at the Eagles. Giants coming off the, I guess, quote-unquote upset since they were on the road versus the Vikings. Got the momentum, and now they're coming in playing their NFC rival, the Eagles. Now, the Eagles, this game was kind of hard to think about just because the Eagles did not finish the season very well. Obviously, Hurts went out, was injured for the final, I guess, 3.5 weeks. Came back and played the last game just to lock up the number one seed, but he didn't play great. Team's been banged up when it comes to injuries. They're a team that definitely feels like they peaked at the wrong moment, or a bit too early, I would say. And when you're playing these division matchups, I don't care how supposedly superior one team is than another. These divisional matchups are always close. I mean, you look what happened with the Bengals and the Ravens. Ravens would have won that game even without Lamar Jackson had it not been for the miraculous, 96-yard fumble recovery. That was an unbelievable play. I'm not predicting something like that to happen in Giants versus Eagles, but I do have the Giants winning this one. I think they're doing some solid overall play on both sides of the ball. Of course, they did play a pretty bad Vikings defense, but regardless, forget about that. I think you take the momentum, divisional matchup, in terms of the division rivals. I got the Giants winning this one. Then we get our next game for that one, or next game, the game on Sunday. And the game was probably one of the most hyped matchups going forward, both of these arguably on Sunday. But the first one in the early schedule is going to be Bengals versus the Bills, a matchup that we obviously didn't get to quite see finish on the penultimate week of the NFL on that Monday night. Now we get to see that matchup, this time in Buffalo. It's really a debate whether this game should have been played on a neutral field, given how the Bengals were winning that game. But forget about that. Getting into this game right here. Now, both of these teams definitely, I don't think, brought their A game in the wild card weekend. They were playing division rivals, yes, but division rivals that had backup QBs, and they really both squeaked by with their wins. I think the Bills out of both of those was even less impressive, just in the fact that, the Dolphins were just, running, just should not have been anywhere close to being in that game, but they were because of Josh Allen and his fumbleitis, turnoveritis, inceptionitis, whatever you want to call it, interceptionitis, sorry. They really should have lost that game too, but the Dolphins were just so undermanned at QB and less talented that they didn't quite have enough to get that win. So you put them up against the Bengals, who Bengals are definitely, I think, the smarter team, better situationally, mainly because Joe Burrow just doesn't make the same amount of mistakes that Josh Allen is. Josh Allen just has made just a ton of mistakes and really regressed this year when it comes to turnovers and whatnot. And the fact that even though the Bengals offensive line is pretty banged up right now, and that would be the one reservation I have with the pick I'm going to make. Because the Bengals are so good situationally, you got two teams that, at least in terms of offense, pretty well matched or evenly matched. I'm going to take the Bengals in this one. You know, they're definitely not scared. They got the poise. They got the maturity. They got the experience, even though it's only their second year in the playoffs, obviously. I got them going on the road and beating Buffalo, or the Bills in Buffalo. That'll raise a whole lot of questions about Buffalo's future, because they're a team that's definitely Super Bowl or bust. And if they didn't make it this year, don't even get past the divisional round again, there'll be some questions for that team. But I got the Bengals winning this one. And then for the final game, San Fran, or the Cowboys at San Fran, playing the 49ers. 49ers have obviously been an absolute juggernaut, winning now 10 straight, or it might even be 11 straight if you include the playoff win. Playing unbelievable football. I mean, that Brock Purdy story is unbelievable. Just as good a story, if you're a Cowboys fan, was how they played on Monday night. A game that no one really quite knew what to expect. Yeah, Tampa Bay had a bad record, but it is Tom Brady. They were at home. Cowboys ended up putting the smackdown on the Buccaneers in that game, and it wasn't as close as the score would have indicated. But now, sort of the big thing the Cowboys have going up against them is the art of preparation. You know, they have a 48-hour disadvantage when it comes to preparing for this game. 49ers played their game on Saturday afternoon, early Saturday afternoon, and then the Cowboys didn't finish their game until Monday night. So you're talking about a whole 2-day difference of preparation, going back to Dallas and then flying over to San Fran. Yeah, major disadvantage when it comes to that. Now, I don't know if it's really my heart speaking more than my head with this pick, because of that, what I just laid out, and just when you look at the 49ers roster, it's just so unbelievable. But I have to imagine that the 49ers have really just been so dominant over the last 2 weeks that maybe they're due for a slip up, maybe. And that's why the Cowboys, coming off the momentum they just had, hopefully they've taken the proper, made the most out of these days in terms of recovering and whatnot, because it takes a lot to play the 49ers, especially in San Fran, and that defense and all that, oof. But I think the Cowboys will toughen it up enough and win a relatively low-scoring game, at least by what is usually thought of these days. I got them 24-21, winning by 3 in San Fran. I think they'll have just enough to get this done. It's a tough pick to make just because of how dominant the 49ers have been, how an unbelievable story Brock Purdy's been. But it's almost too unbelievable to where it's all like, you know what? Come on, Cowboys, I got you. I'm a Cowboys fan, rooting for them to win this game, picking them to win, and we'll see what's happening. But I don't feel terrible about that pick. So the theme for this weekend, at least for me, is I got a lot of road upsets except for one, the first game, Chiefs versus Jaguars. But all the other ones, I think the road underdogs have enough to sort of get these wins and sort of pull the quote-unquote upsets, if you want to call them in that case. I don't think Bengals-Bills is that much of an upset. But I can, compared to what you think or what's been shown, I guess Cowboys-49ers would be too. And Giants upsetting the Eagles would be too. So there you go. So that'll be my preview for Divisional Weekend. Like I said, not the biggest fan of that name, but it is what it is. Looking forward to all of these games. Should be some pretty good matchups, especially the games on Sunday. Going to be unbelievable. But enough rambling. That'll do it for this preview video. If you made it to the end, thank you for watching.